All right, guys, welcome back. We're gonna be watching this crazy panel on CNN with Abby Phillips, and of course, they're up here talking bad about what Trump is doing for Black History Month. Apparently, it's not good to celebrate it, and it ain't good to not celebrate it. So let's go ahead and get into this.
He also mentioned at the same time that there were going to be statues of Kobe Bryant and Muhammad Ali. So it just seems a little hypocritical that you would be doing everything in your power to sort of outlaw the teachings of what, say, a Muhammad Ali stood for. Like, are you going to tell people that he stood against war, that he stood against these very progressive civil rights issues? That doesn't seem to be the part of it. And what I noticed there from that clip is that he had to read letter by letter about what these people what these great Americans have done in terms of progress for our country, because it's not something he's familiar with and not something that it's natural for him. So I consider this to be an insult, a slap in the face, and frankly,
Are you serious? So your whole problem with him doing this Black History Month thing is that he's reading from a teleprompter? Do I need to pull up a clip of Joe Biden or any other Democrat? I'm sure she reads a teleprompter whenever she goes to do her Black activism speeches. 100%. These people are so really you're gonna take all that away from him just because he's reading, just because he doesn't know them off the top of his head, and it's just, it doesn't seem genuine. It doesn't seem like he knows. Like, you're gonna take all that over that? Really, the main thing here is if he celebrates this is the whole thing. If he celebrates Black History Month, they're gonna find a way to take it all away from him by using something like that.
All the people that attended this, look, I guess God bless you if you've never been to the White House and maybe you looked at it as some kind of great experience. But everything this president has stood for and done in the last decade or so has been a complete rejection of what Black history is.
Abel, how do you square what Jamel is saying there?
Executive order to move the federal HBCU initiative back to the White House. Okay. Agencies across the administration plans to enhance support for HBCUs. Okay. The Future Act making permanent $255 million in annual funding for HBCUs, increasing funding for the federal Pell Grant. Trump forgave $322 million in disaster loans to 4 HBCUs in 2018. Trump's America First agenda led to over 350,000 Black Americans lifting themselves out of poverty due to booming manufacturing and smarter trade policies. President Trump promoted second chance hiring to give former inmates the opportunity to live crime-free lives and find meaningful employment. The new investment led to a rise in home values, creating $11 billion in new wealth in minority neighborhoods. What did Joe Biden say about Black people? Like, do I really need to bring this up right now?
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't Black.
They don't have nothing to do with what they're proposing. Romney wants to he said in the first 100 days, he's going to let the big banks once again write their own rules. Unchain Wall Street. They're going to put you all back in chains.
Wow.
In Delaware, the largest growth in population is Indian Americans moving from India. You cannot go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent. I'm not joking.
We need to reform the criminal justice system to make sure Black mothers feel confident when they send their son out on the street that he's going to be safe. We got to recognize that kid wearing a hoodie may very well be the next poet laureate and not a gangbang. We have this notion that somehow if you're poor, you cannot do it. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids, wealthy kids, Black kids, Asian kids.
Or any other Democrat, Kathy Hochul, for example.
Right now we have, young Black kids growing up in the Bronx who don't even know what the word computer is.
All right, let's move on. I don't want to beat this horse to death.
That this White House, this administration has spent so much time, especially in the last month, denigrating diversity as even a concept. And actually, let me just go ahead and play this because I think it's instructive to hear exactly what they have been saying. Listen.
I think the single dumbest phrase in military history is our diversity is our strength.
My son is in a public school.
True. Literally stupid. The military does not need to be focused on diversity and inclusion and equity and all this stuff. It's the military. We literally go and off people. You can't like that's such a hypocritical thing to do, to have the military worried about DEI, and then on the backside you over here blowing up people who, for example, aren't even white. Like, come on, dude. This is like, what are we gonna do next? We're gonna start bombing certain people because of their skin color and stuff. Like, what? Come on, this is dumb. Oh, over here we're gonna be inclusive, but we're about to deploy to go bomb a bunch of Arabs or something. Like, come on, dude, this is dumb.
It's a class called African American History. If you're running an African American history class, could you perhaps be in violation of this court order, of this executive order?
I'm not quite certain, and I'd like to look into it further and get back to you on that.
You can have DEI in water coolers and universities. I disagree with that. But lives aren't impacted with DEI at universities. It is impacted here. I just want the best and the brightest, keeping Americans safe.
Okay, so you say that, and then you throw a Black History Month event, and people are supposed to then say, well, it all doesn't matter. He really does care about the history of this country, which includes people. It's Black History Month today and this month, but it could be Hispanic History Month, Women's History Month, all these diverse people.
Absolutely.
What are Americans supposed to think?
I mean, look, President Trump is not a traditional politician. I mean, he never has been, he never will be. So today when we saw the celebration in the White House, I thought that was a beautiful ceremony. I thought it was a packed house there. I mean, Tiger Woods, I can go on and on of all the people that were there. He made it very clear today, Abby. He said, Black Americans are legends. I'm going to put some statues up. Kobe Bryant.
But he's governing in exactly the opposite way.
I think what he's trying to do is, on one end, he knows he's got a huge deficit. He's trying to make cuts and move the business, this big government forward.
I'm not talking about the cuts. I'm talking about the denigration of people based on this idea of DEI. They tried to blame a plane crash on diversity.
Yeah,
All right, so this is another, like, shout out to liberal hive mind. This is another hypocritical thing that the left does. So the conservatives say that DEI is racist, right? And then when you ask a liberal if DEI is racist, it's not racist. But whenever a conservative points out DEI as being a problem, then all of a sudden liberals come out with an argument like, oh, you hate Black people or you hate some minority. But you just said it's not about that, though. So what is it about then? Because every time, it depends on the argument. Whatever the argument is, they just flip on it on a dime. If it ain't about Black people, then why are you concerned that I don't like DEI? If it's not about minorities, what is it actually about then?
I don't actually agree with that, to be very sincere with you. I think he looks at DEI more of a, let's put that aside and let's do everything on merit. He's made it very clear. He's talked about merit all along. So I really think, Abby, that what happened today was a beautiful thing.
So I don't. I think he's trying to gaslight us. I mean, come on, man. You have got to be kidding.
So if he didn't have it today, you would be back.
He's trying to gaslight us. First, he said he doesn't want anybody in government to celebrate Black History Month, and then he says, okay, I'm going to put on an event about Black History Month, and I'm going to be the speaker. There aren't any Black people, really saying anything about what's happening with him. He tried to use DEI as literally a racial slur against us, as if Black people are benefiting from anything in this country and getting anything we're not qualified for and don't have to work twice as hard for. Black people have to live in the real world. When the cops come, we're scared because we might not come out of it alive. We walk into a store, if they let us in, we're followed around. We don't get loans when we have the same credit score as everybody else because we're Black. We have to live in the real world. You can't gaslight us. We know reality when we see it. This is not real. This is a joke. That's what that is.
I mean, personally, Tiger Woods was speaking at the podium today.
Tiger Woods said he's Kablasian.
Right. I thought he would be there for Combination
Come on, man.
History Month.
What so
they won't claim Tiger Woods. I wonder if they not claiming Tiger Woods because he's not full Black, or are they not going to claim him because he says he's not full Black? I mean, a lot of people. I'm guarantee you, she's not full Black. Clearly, look how light her skin is. She's not full Black. I'm not even full Black. Like, come on, dude. Like, where's the line?
one of the things also, apparently the Defense Department's getting ready to make some cuts. We talked about it earlier. One of the cuts rumored to be happening is of CQ Brown, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, shockingly, a black man. This is not surprising to me because I know the conversation in MAGA world about that. But the idea that maybe one of the first acts of the new defense secretary would be to ask the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, who is a black man who a Republican senator just today said has done a very good job, and he would be surprised to hear if he were eliminated in some of these cuts. Kevin Kramer said a month ago that he knows CQ Brown pretty well. They've had disagreements, but he thinks he's doing a great job. Why would this even be a conversation?
Well, I think Hegseth has sort of changed his tune on it a bit. They seem to be working together in the early onset, right after his confirmation. He gave him a vote of approval out loud to the press corps. So we'll see what happens. I'm not going to jump to a conclusion on that. And also, I hope that even if we have political disagreements with somebody in history, a figure of history, we can still recognize their greatness. And I think that's very important. So I was glad to see Donald Trump highlight, yes, great athletes, but yes, Rosa Parks, yes, Frederick Douglass. I think that's great. And we can have the debate over DEI, and I think I can go in a million different directions. I think when it comes to the celebration of Black history, I think the president's signal today was he doesn't want to see it erased from our conversation in our country.
But that's not what his actions say.
All right, I'm glad that's over. They need to put Scott Jennings on that panel. That would have been one to watch because Scott Jennings would have let him have it. You know, liberals don't like to hear the truth. Conservative, and you lie to a conservative, and they'll get pissed off. If you tell the truth to a liberal, then they'll get pissed off. So if Scott Jennings was on there, this would have been something to watch. On the note of generals, I didn't want to interrupt the video, but on the note of generals, as being former military, I would say fire every single general who has the thought that DEI should be an initiative in the military. Literally just fire them. So you want to put DEI in the military, and then what? Eventually we're just going to start bombing people inclusively and diversely and equitably. Is that what we're going to start doing? I just totally do not agree with the whole, I don't agree with DEI in general, and I don't agree with DEI, especially in the military, considering the fact that the military literally goes overseas to kill people. Anyway, guys, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and I'll see you later.